this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make brujol. Now, brujol is an Italian roll, it's a big piece of meat, and it's stuffed a bunch of things and rolled and simmered in sauce and wine. I'm going to show you how delicious and simple it is to make. But here's what you're going to need. You need a can of crushed tomatoes, some hard-boiled egg, a regular raw egg, some Parmesan cheese, some shredded mozzarella and provolone, some chopped up prosciutto di Parma. You need some breadcrumbs, fresh parsley, some garlic, red wine, salt, pepper, extra virgin olive oil, and of course, the star of the show, a piece of flank steak. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pound it out because we want to make sure that it's thin enough to roll it and stuff it with a bunch of different things, but you want to make sure that it is large enough to stuff, or else if you stuff it just like this, it won't really work. So here's what you're going to do. You want to line the bottom of your board with some silk wrap, and then you want to do the same thing on the top because you don't want your meat mallet to touch the actual piece of meat. And we're going to pound this out until it's about a 1/4 inch thick. Take a meat mallet, and if you don't have a meat mallet, you can always use either a rolling pin or a small heavy-duty skillet. But here we go. Nice and thin, just like that. Okay, now we're going to set this aside. Okay, now with still clean hands, because I haven't touched the meat, we're going to make our filling. Okay, we're going to take in the Parmesan cheese, the mozzarella and the provolone, the prosciutto, the breadcrumbs, and the parsley and the garlic. Now, originally, brujol was only stuffed with the Parmesan cheese, the garlic, and the parsley. But you know, everybody's updated ever since then. So now everybody has their own variation. But this is mine, and this is the way my family makes it. So I'm just gonna season it a little bit with salt and pepper. Not too much salt because the cheeses have a lot of salt in them. Okay. So then I'm going to put in the 1 egg, the raw egg. The egg is just to bind everything together. I'm going to put in a couple tablespoons of olive oil. The olive oil is just going to keep everything really moist. Okay. Here we go. It's almost done. You want everything to be kind of not too wet, but this is a little dry for me, so I'm going to put in a little bit more of olive oil. Like I said, just to keep everything nice and moist. Now, take your meat closer to you. Now, before you even touch the meat, what you want to do is you want to cut some kitchen twine, a few pieces of kitchen twine, because this is going to hold everything together. You want about 5 or 6 pieces. This, you can see the grain is going against this way. So, I mean, I can't tell you how to pound. The only thing I can tell you is that if the grain is going this way, you want to pound out your meat in the direction of the grain. So that when you roll it this way, when you roll it, but you cut it, you're cutting against the grain so you don't get shoe leather if you're cutting it if you were to roll it this way against the grain and you were to cut it with the grain, you would have nothing but strings, and that's what you just don't want. That it's not good. So you want to take your mixture and you want to spread it out pretty evenly. So now I'm going to take some hard-boiled eggs that I've cooked, cold, and then I've quartered them. I'm going to line them up like that. And then we're going to start rolling. Okay. My brujol is nicely filled, stuffed. So now we're going to start tying it. There we go. You don't want to go too tight or else it will explode in places. But you don't want to do it too loose. It also defeats the purpose of doing this in the first place. I've tied my brujol all the way around, all the way up I should say, so it's nice and tight. And I've also preheated a large, deep, non-stick skillet. Now, the reason why I'm using a skillet is because I want to brown the brajol so that it doesn't, so that it caramelizes. But I don't have a pot big enough that it's non-stick for it to caramelize. So we're going to do it in this pot, and then we're going to braise it in another. You want your oil to be nice and hot, and you want this to caramelize on both sides. Just brown it up. About 4 to 5 minutes per side. The brajol is nice and caramelized on both sides, as you can see. Now, if you're not using the same pan to make your brajol in, to make your sauce in, you take the same oil, because that has great flavor. Take the same oil and you put it into the pan you're going to be cooking the rest of your brajol in. And you're going to put in 1 small onion that I've chopped. Now, I know that this wasn't in my list of ingredients when I was showing you at the beginning, but my mistake. You do need 1 small chopped onion and also some fresh basil. You want to let this cook for about 45 minutes until it's nice and caramelized and lightly brown and translucent. Onions are ready. Putting my brajol back in. Adding in a cup of red wine. And letting this cook for 1 minute for the alcohol to cook out and for the flavors to really blend in well. Red wine, the alcohol is cooked out. So we're adding in the tomatoes, crushed tomatoes. Putting in a little water because my tomatoes are really thick. Medium-low heat. Lid on. But before, let's just season it really quickly with a little salt and pepper. Look. Lid on for 1 hour and 10 minutes. My brajol has been cooking for 1 hour and 15 minutes on medium-low, and it's absolutely perfect. I'm going to take it out. Taking it out and letting it rest for 10 minutes before I slice it. Now what I want to do in the sauce, I'm going to let it keep cooking for 10 more minutes, but I'm going to add in some fresh basil right in the sauce. Now the sauce, you can use some of it to go over the brajol, and you can use the rest of it, boil a pound of pasta, and it'll be perfect over some rigatoni or penne or anything you like. So let this rest for 10 minutes and then we'll slice it. It's been 10 minutes since my brajol's been resting. So I'm just going to ladle a little bit of the sauce to the bottom of the plate where I'm serving it in. I just want to make sure that I keep the brajol nice and moist. There we go. Time to cut it. Now, I use the strings as a guide for my slices. You see what happens when you cut against the grain? Look at that. You get beautiful slices. And guess what? You don't get shoestrings. It's perfect. Just make sure you roll with the grain so you can cut against it. My brajol is perfect. I'm just going to ladle in. I'm going to ladle over some more sauce so that it keeps it nice and moist. And guess what? Top it with some fresh basil and you're done. The rest of the sauce is perfect for a side of pasta, and you have a complete meal. I hope you make this, and I hope to see you next time on Laura in the Kitchen. To get the full recipe and other recipes, visit my website at www.laurainthekitchen.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.